The heart of your teams. The heart of Ohio. Bally Sports Ohio. The heart of the fan.
Here's what's on tap for the Jackets tonight. Wrapping a long and winding road trip, Columbus tries to end a 5-game trek in style with a win tonight in our nation's capital. Jackets offense rolling along. Kirill Marchenko rolling along. He's a point-per-game player in his last 3. So we'll check in on Marchie and his outstanding rookie campaign that just continues for the Blue Jackets. And the center of attention in Vegas on Sunday, Patrik Laine shifting into the middle of the ice. We'll take a closer look at how a career winger is transitioning to the middle of the playing surface. Welcome to Blue Jackets Live Pregame, presented by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. The Jackets wrapping up the road trip in Washington, D.C., taking on the Washington Capitals in the 4th of a 4-game season series. There is Jack Roslovic getting prepared for today's tilt against the Caps as the Jackets try to bounce back after a tough loss, and likewise Andrew Peeke going through final preparations here for the Jackson Capitals round 4 of the season. Well, welcome inside our Bally Sports Ohio studios alongside Jean-Luc Grandpierre. I am Tony Brown in for Brian Giesenschlag today. And boy, this is a game the Jackets certainly want to send them home from this road trip happy.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. And it hasn't been an ideal road trip so far for Blue Jackets. It starts great with a 6-5 win over the San Jose Sharks, and then you lose in LA, Anaheim, and Vegas. So for the Blue Jackets, you want to wrap this trip up the same way you started, with a win and come home happy.
Well, that is certainly the objective today for the Blue Jackets. Let's take a look at the road trip. Of course, you mentioned it, the win against San Jose, but after that, a couple of tough games and a lot of goals given up on this road trip for Columbus.
Yes, a few too many, 23 goals over the last 4 games. And yes, there were a couple empty net goals in Anaheim, but nevertheless for the Blue Jackets, they want to tighten things up on the back end, and obviously want to make sure that Daniil Tarasov will be starting here tonight, can finish this game. That would be nice to see young men finish the game. And the Washington Capitals, we know it's an older team, but there's that guy, number 8, Alexander Ovechkin, who has had the Blue Jackets' phone number the last few times he's played them, so hopefully they can capitalize and neutralize the grade 8.
Well, of course, he's had pretty much everybody's number in the National Hockey League since he has now in 18 seasons become one of the game's all-time greats in terms of putting the puck in the net. Now, he hails from Russia, so does Kirill Marchenko, another great goal scorer, and we mentioned him in the lead-up here, Jean-Luc. Points in his last 3 games, now 18 goals. As a rookie, that's 2 away from the Columbus rookie record.
Yeah, absolutely, and Pierre-Luc Dubois holds that record. And for Kirill Marchenko, you look at the way he's been able to put himself in this lineup and make an immediate impact. And we talked about it last game with Brian. For Marchenko, he's scoring from everywhere, whether it's in the paint, grabbing rebounds, coming out of the corner with the puck, or with this incredible wrist shot that he has. And that was on display definitely against the LA Kings. And so probably the goaltender there with an absolute rocket of a shot as he got that puck and let it go so quick. So you've seen plenty of him in Cleveland. I'm sure you wish you would have seen him a little longer, but I'm sure the Columbus Blue Jackets fan will say otherwise. They're happy he's here. And as far as scoring goals, he's up there with all the top rookies in the league. Now we're looking at goals, but yes, Wyatt Johnson from the Dallas Star leading with 20. Matty Benier's been stuck at 19, it seems like, for about 5 months. And Kirill Marchenko right there at 18, so there's a strong chance he could catch up to them. And you look at that number at the bottom, in way less games for him.
Yeah, he's been super efficient. He was awfully efficient for Cleveland. At the start of the year, he scored a goal 20-some seconds into the season. So certainly he was outstanding at that level, and he has kept that torrid offensive pace up now that he is with the Blue Jackets. Well, Marchenko is a guy that really can change the game in an instant. It's about his release, but also his relentless desire to score goals. He loves it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you see it like he just, you know, when you see Ezekiel Elliott, well, former Dallas star Ezekiel Elliott that used to do that thing, that's the kind of feeling I get when I watch Kirill Marchenko. He wants more. It doesn't matter if he's got 1 goal, 2 goals. We saw him get a hat trick. He always wants more. But on top of it, he wants to win. So that's a great attribute to have as a player. So hopefully we see more here tonight.
Well, speaking of Kirill Marchenko, he is with our own Dave Metzold in D.C. Metz?
Hey, thanks, Tony. Always good when you can talk to Kirill pregame. Kirill, this has been a long road trip. How has this road trip been for you?
Yeah, it's a hard trip for us, for team, but it's the last game, and I think everybody is happy because it's the last game and we go home. But the trip is tough.
Last game you had a goal and an assist. Patrick Laine was your centerman. How are things working out with you and Patrick, with him as a centerman?
I like playing with the party, and he like play with puck, and when he play right side, I play left side. Usually same, but now he work on the D, you know, more. But it's no big change for me, you know. He play with puck, I just help him and try play with puck too, you know. It's I say no big change, but I like it. It's interesting, you know. Maybe excited. I am excited. He is excited, and he's great.
Let's see how it plays out tonight. Finally, it's a big night for Alex Ovechkin. What does it mean to you to be here on a night when he's going to be on?
Yeah, I know. First, I want to say congrats for him because it's a great. You know, it's more goals than Gordy Howe, yeah. It's cool, and I'm very excited to sit on the bench and look at what's happening, you know. It's really cool, and it's a great time, but after the game, and need to win this game.
All right, I like that. Yeah. Thanks for the time, Kirill.
Thank you so much.
All right, another excellent job by Kirill Marchenko as he gets ready to face one of his heroes in Alex Ovechkin.
Well, I love that from Kirill Marchenko.
Yeah.
He said the word excited a lot in that interview. Is there anyone more genuinely excited for every single game? I don't think I've ever seen him without a smile on his face.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw him in Cleveland. That was the feedback that I remember talking to Chris Clark, and he's like, I've never seen a kid being so excited. And, you know, he's 22 years old, but he said it looked like it was a 16-year-old kid, you know, playing with like adults because he was so happy about being at the arena every day, whether it was practice, after a win, after a loss. Really exciting. And now on top of it, you got a chance when the Blue Jackets were hosted the Capitals on January 31st, you got a chance to go to dinner with Alex Ovechkin right before the game, well, the night before the game. So for him, that's his idol, and yes, 819 goals and counting.
Yeah, well, speaking of Alexander Ovechkin, tonight the Capitals honoring their superstar, and it was a while ago now, Jean-Luc, that he passed Gordie Howe for number 2 on the all-time NHL goal-scoring list, but he has been remarkable to watch throughout his career. It's insane. I could go through the accolades, but you already know them. He simply put one of the greatest goal scorers ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, for Ovechkin, you're looking at his numbers even this season. Is he slowing down? A little bit, but he still has 39 goals when you really think about it. 13 of them, of course, on the power play. So he's a scoring machine. There's no doubt about it. And he's chasing history.
Yeah, we take a look at our Toyota matchup here. Most goals in National Hockey League history, and only one guy with more. That's Wayne Gretzky. But what, 75 goals away for Alex Ovechkin? You look at these names up there. I mean, it's just insane what he's been able to achieve. So a well-deserved and well-earned celebration tonight in Washington.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will take a break. We've got plenty more ahead on Blue Jackets Live Pregame, including a look at Patrick Laine's shift to center. Blue Jackets Live on Bally Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. For all Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Well, our nation's capital, the site of round 4 of 4 between the Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals from Capital One Arena. We are back inside our Bally Sports Ohio studios alongside Jean-Luc Grandpierre. I'm Tony Brown. Well, Jean-Luc, things have been looking up in a number of statistical categories for the Jackets lately, including the power play, which has been one of the best in the league in the last month.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the power play, Pascal Vincent, who's been in charge of it all season long, he said that he liked that the direction that power play has been going over the last couple of months, but now the numbers are really starting to, come up there. And despite the absence of Zach Werenski, obviously, it helps when you have a guy like Adam Boqvist at the point, but the big catalyst on that power play, definitely Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine, who's been able to capitalize more often than not every time the Blue Jackets the man power play. So that's a good thing for the Blue Jackets. We can talk about defense, but we'll talk about that later. Let's look at the numbers.
Yeah, if we look at the numbers here, really across the board, at least in these categories, big increases over the Blue Jackets season average in categories like goals, expected goals, and so on there. So really playing better hockey lately.
Absolutely, and one of the big difference for me as I'm looking is the cycle chances. The Blue Jackets earlier in the season were definitely more of a rush team, so I like that number improving at the bottom, the 10.8, which is an increase of 36.7%. It's a big difference, and hopefully they can do that a little bit more often here.
Yeah, manufacturing offense while already established in the offensive zone as opposed to off the rush. Yeah. It helps.
Yeah, because, off the rush, it's one chance, and then it seems like it was one chance, and then back in your zone, and one chance back in your zone. If you can establish a little bit more zone time, it's always a plus. That's how you get power plays, because the opposition gets tired, start hooking, or, whatever the penalty may be. When you're tired, you make bad decision, and that's how you get power plays.
All right, well, for a closer look at the Blue Jackets' preparations for tonight's game in D.C., let's go to our nation's capital and Dave Metzel. Metz?
Hey, thanks, Tony. Good to see the air on the desk with Jean-Luc. You guys make an awesome-looking dynamic duo right there. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Patrick Laine. We saw him at center for the first time in Las Vegas, and that will continue here tonight. He had 20 shifts at the centerman position the other night, and Pascal Vincent said, after watching the video, thought he did pretty good, but he needs work in this area right here, face-off. He won just 3 of 17 face-offs against the Golden Knights. So this scene this morning was so predictable. Sean Corrali, who joined the team for this game here tonight, was on that practice dot, or on that face-off dot with Patrick Laine and Pascal Vincent, working on those face-offs, working on technique, working on little tricks of the trade. And afterwards, I talked to Pascal Vincent about exactly what kind of work was going on with Patrick Laine.
Knows how to play the game, but taking face-offs, it's a skill. Like, some guys are really good at it, and then there's a process, who you're playing against, which zone you're in, O zone, D zone, neutral zone, righty, lefty. You can also study the linesmen and how they drop the puck, and there's a lot of things we can look at and to help him improve his success rate.
I don't know much about face-offs. That's never been something that I've worried too much about as a winger, but now it's a little more important. So try to ask the guys who've done it for a longer time, and kind of ask for tips and stuff like that. And it's the same thing. If they ask me about shooting, I'll try to help them as much as I can. So it's kind of the same thing with face-offs with those guys.
He's got all the tools he needs, really. He's big and he's strong, and he's got a long stick, a strong stick. So I think it was just more about us talking through it a little bit. He asked me a few questions, and a lot of it is just experience and talking about. But I think he can get it done, and he can get it done pretty quick. I think he's smart and a savvy player.
I'm like a kid, before Christmas. It's just exciting to get this kind of chance, and obviously for me, I feel like I've been kind of going back and forth with winger, kind of like I don't know how to say it, but it's just like it feels like it hasn't been going the way I wanted it to go, my development and all that. But I feel like now as a center, I feel like that could open up some new things for me, and obviously try to get better as a player.
like a kid before Christmas. And you heard Kirill Marchenko here earlier say he's excited, I'm excited. I think you could hear it in Patrick Laine's voice. All right, we saw Sean Kuraly out there at practice this morning. Sean Kuraly was injured back on March 2nd, had a strained oblique. And at that time, the thinking was he might not be back for the season. But he was back with the team this morning at Morning State. Good to see him out there. Good to see him because he is such an influence on this team as a leader and as a competitor. Not going to play tonight, but certainly was good to see him out there working with his teammates. And it begged the question, which I asked him after skate, are you a little ahead of schedule, Sean?
I guess that's probably the case. Just trying to get back as soon as I can. As soon as as soon as I'm 100% ready to go, hopefully I'll be back out there, and hopefully it's sooner than later.
Had to feel great, though, just to be out with the guys this morning, right?
Oh yeah, you miss it. You really do. You just want to be a part of it, part of the team. And you just help the team however you can. And even if I'm not playing, hopefully add a little bit of positivity and execute and do my job and try and get back in there. And like I said, when I'm healthy, I'll be ready to go.
Helped the team however he can and played a vital role again here this morning, working with Patrick Laine on those face-offs. Hopefully we'll see Sean Kuraly back in the lineup real soon, guys.
Well, thanks so much, Mets. Yeah, we certainly can hope so. Without him, the Jackets certainly missing something in that bottom six.
Yeah, absolutely. He takes a lot of important face-off, especially in the D zone and late in the games, whether it's him or Boone Jenner, and especially on the penalty kill. And Boone Jenner's been in the box a little more often than he'd like to. And your face-off guy is typically your Sean Kuraly. So nice to see him back. Close to get back on the ice. And then for Patrick Laine, he talked about his development as a player. He seems like his development has kind of slowed down. And it's funny that he said that because Brian and I were just talking about how playing a different position sometimes can open your eyes and seeing the game from a different perspective. So for Patrick Laine, he's most likely going to go back to the wing at some point. I think he's going to learn a lot from that experience playing in the middle.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is one of the most challenging positions on the ice, maybe with the lone exception of the goaltending position. We'll take a look now at our starting goaltenders for today's game between the Blue Jackets and the Capitals. And Daniil Tarasov gets the call, Jean-Luc. 9 games for him in Cleveland this year, 16 at the NHL level. That record's not where he wants it to be. Meanwhile, Charlie Lindgren having a pretty strong, solid season for the Caps.
Yes, strong season for the Caps. If you look at his number for a backup goaltender, which is never an easy job. And what about that mugshot? 10 out of 10. That's beautiful. But yes, for Tarasov, in all seriousness, yes, hopefully he can finish this game today. Got pulled out of his last 2 starts, so you'll want to bounce back here with a big performance.
Yeah, Charlie Lindgren looks like he's in 1974, right about now.
Yeah.
He's playing great this year for the Capitals. All right, well, FanDuel, make every moment more. Let's talk about this, Jean-Luc. Certainly a couple of ways in which you can make yourself some money with tonight's game.
Yes, so a $100 bet will give you $100 if it stays under 6.5 goals. So, yes, basically at 7 goals, that will be over. You look at the scores in the NHL, especially the Blue Jackets one as of late. I don't know if that's going to happen. And then for Tarasov and Lindgren to both get over 29.5 safe, not a bad payout. Plus 470, so that's a good one. $470 return on $100.
Yeah, and a reminder right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Download the FanDuel app to start making every moment more. Blue Jackets Live on Bally Sports Ohio is brought to you by Buyers Auto. Come see why it's better to buy at Buyers. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Now let's take a look inside the dressing room as we're counting down just a little bit over 24 minutes to our opening faceoff in Washington, D.C. Kirill Marchenko, he's been hot lately with 3 points in his last 3 games, getting ready, as are the members of the fourth forward line here. Liam Foudy with Lane Peterson, Matthew Olivier, those guys locked in and getting ready for the game. Well, this is a big game for the Blue Jackets, again, to try to get things headed in the right direction, heading into their return to Nationwide Arena here. But we thought we'd take a moment now and talk about one of the top prospects in the entire organization. I'm talking about David Jiricek, and in 43 games down in Cleveland, well, he's been outstanding, Jean-Luc. He has been, simply put, the #1 defenseman on the Monsters all year, particularly productive on the power play, but tied for second on the team in points.
Yeah, that's great from the young defenseman, and you have to remember he's only 19 years old, so there's not many pros at 19, obviously, because he's European. He has that right to play in the American Hockey League at such a young age. But you know what? As far as the scouting report, Tony, I haven't seen him play beside a couple of times with the Blue Jackets, so I'm going to defer to Tony's scouting report.
Yeah,
you tell me what you saw.
Some pretty hard-hitting analysis right here. No, but he's just dynamic on the power play, is particularly at the AHL level. His shot is incredible. He is the rookie leader in power play assists, right up there in power play points. But what is amazing to me is just for a guy this young, he's as complete a package as I've seen in 8 years in the American Hockey League.
That is incredible. And then, yeah, for me, you know, the reads are improving. That's the biggest question mark there, because we heard from the scouting report. We saw him at the NHL level. He is not afraid to pinch, to make reads. But obviously, at the NHL level, smaller ice rink, faster decision. I'm glad to see that's improving as well.
Yeah, super bright future for David Jiricek. Same for young Hunter McCown, Jean-Luc, who just signed after his career at Colorado College, a 3-year entry-level deal with the Blue Jackets. Big offensive producer at CC, led the nation in power play goals, over 20 goals on the season. But you think, as we were talking before the show, that he projects as a defensive-minded player at the NHL level?
Yes, and that's maybe one of the reasons why he was not drafted. You looked at every report I read about Hunter McCown. His incredible shot, incredible hands, but he takes so much pride in his defensive game and is really good at mitigating scoring chances. So for the Blue Jackets here, that's a nice pickup, Hunter McCown.
Yeah, well, plenty more ahead. We're getting closer to the start of the Blue Jackets and Capitals. More ahead on Blue Jackets Live Pregame. Blue Jackets Live on Bally Sports Ohio is brought to you by First Financial Bank. Bank at first.com. Almost ready for the opening draw between the Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals, the fourth and final meeting between the two clubs this year, and the Blue Jackets looking for their first win against Washington this season. Back in studio here with Jean-Luc Grandpierre, Tony Brown here with you, and Jean-Luc, time to enlighten us here. Tell us, what are you on the lookout for tonight?
Well, the first thing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, listen, the Washington Capitals, yes, they've won 3 games against you so far this season, but it's not a team that play with a lot of tempo. So for the Blue Jackets, set up the tempo early, set up the pace, play with speed, young legs. Yes, it's a long road trip. You may be tired a little bit, but it's the last game. So the second thing for me, finish the trip like it started. Finish with 2 points, come home feeling better about yourself. You don't want to go 1-4 on that trip. So for the Blue Jackets, it's pretty simple. Set the tone early, get some pace to the game, make them chase you, and then win the game.
And battling through some travel today, too, right? The first part of this road trip on the West Coast, then after Sunday's game in Vegas, you got to come all the way back to the Eastern Seaboard. That's going to affect things off the hop.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for them. Listen, I'm still recovering from all those late games, and I stayed in the Eastern time zone the whole time, so it's not going to be easy. But listen, these young guys, they're young enough, they don't know any better. Just go out and play.
You said it. Go out and play, and that's what the Jackets will do next in D.C. against the Capitals.